Hi there, welcome to the introductory video to HTML5. Now, in this tutorial session, we are going to have a look at some basic components of HTML and also um, learn about some basic things you need to know before you start coding in HTML. So I know most of you here hate slides so much, so I promise you we are just going to go through a few of them and dive straight into the real deal. So without wasting much time, let's dive in. Okay guys, so HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is a markup language that is used to describe the structure of the web. So if you want to create a website, you first of all need to know about HTML to describe the structure of your website before you apply your CSS or your JavaScript and also other website technologies out there. Okay, so HTML is not a programming language. It is a markup language that uses markups to identify web content. So HTML documents are being rendered in a web browser. So in order to render your content appropriately, you have to use markups for that, or sometimes we call them tags. Okay, so markup in HTML uses something we call tags, and they mostly come in pairs. They consist of the opening tag and the closing tag. So you might see a lot of them in your HTML document, or you'd have to use most more of them in your HTML document. Now, tags in HTML start with the less than sign and end with the greater than sign. Now, the main difference between the opening tag and the closing tag is for the closing tag, after the less than sign, you have to include a forward slash before the element's name. So as you can see here, we have the opening tag, the content, and the closing tag. So the difference, as I said, is just the forward slash here. Now, the opening tag, content, and the closing tag are collectively called an HTML element. So if you are dealing with an element like the paragraph element, you would have your P in your opening tag and then the forward slash with the P as your closing tag, and then you would have your content in there. It can be any form of text as your paragraph. Okay, so now as I said, the opening tag, the content, and the closing tag are collectively called an HTML element. So if you are dealing with a paragraph, you would have to use the paragraph element, which will consist of the opening tag for the paragraph, the content, which can be any text, form of text, and then the closing tag of the paragraph. Okay, so the file extension for HTML is .html or .atm. Now, file extensions tell us or shows us the type of file we are dealing with. So if you are dealing with a .mp3 file, it should tell you are dealing with a song, or you are about to play a song. If you see a .mp4 extension, it should tell you are dealing with a video file. So the file extension for HTML documents is .html or .htm. Now below is a structure of an HTML element. Now this is an example of an element, and as I said, the element consists of the opening tag, the content, and the closing tag. So if you want to represent a paragraph on your website, you would have to wrap that text around, or you would have to wrap that text with the opening tag of the paragraph and the closing tag of that paragraph. Now, the only difference between the opening tag and the closing tag is this forward slash here. So So I would advise you to take note of that. So the opening tag, the content, and the closing tag is collectively called the HTML element. There are lots of elements that we are going to have a look at in subsequent videos. Okay, so all these will make sense to you when we start writing some real HTML code. Okay, so now let's have a look at the structure of an HTML document. Now, as you can see on your screen, I have one structure on my left and another structure on my right. Okay, so now there's no difference here. The only difference is that I added extra spaces to the structure on my right just to make things more clear. Okay, so the first thing you have to take note of is this doc type HTML declaration. Now, this declaration statement tells the browser the type or the version of HTML we are using or we are coding in. This is the version declaration or type declaration for HTML5, which is the latest HTML version. Okay, so now after your declarative statement, your doc type declarative statement, the next thing you have to bring is your HTML root element, your HTML root element. It is very, very, very important you include that in your document. So in your HTML root element, you would have two elements also, which is the head element and also the body element. Now in your head element, that's where you have things like the title for your website, um, links to your CSS style sheet and all that. Now most of the non-visible parts of your web or your websites are represented in this head element, so take note of that. And in your body elements, which is the body opening tag and the body closing tag, in between these elements you have the visible part of your HTML document. So you would have things like your paragraph, images, links to other websites and all that. So the head element um, contains the non-visible part of your website, and then the body element contains the visible part of your website. So as I said, it's going to make more sense when we start writing some real HTML code. So without wasting much time, let's move to my desktop so we start writing some HTML code. So see you in a jiffy. Okay, welcome back guys. Now, some of the basic tools you need before you begin writing HTML code is a text editor and a web browser. Now, as I made mention of in previous videos, we are going to be we are going to make use of the Visual Studio text editor. But right now, I'm not going to use the Visual Studio text editor. I'm going to use the Notepad editor just to show you the structure of the HTML document before we proceed. So the first thing you have to do is create a folder on your desktop or anywhere you think you can locate your folder. So the first thing we are going to do is create a folder on our desktop. So you right click, choose new, and then you click on folder. So now give your folder any name you want. I'm going to name my folder Codetopia. Alright, after that you press enter. Congratulations, you've created a folder. Okay, so now as I said, we are going to be using the Notepad text editor. So you just go to your search box and you type Notepad, not Notepad plus plus, please. Now there are lots of text editors out there that you can use, like Sublime. We have brackets. We also have a Visual Studio, which we are going to make use of in subsequent videos. We also have Notepad plus plus and all that, but for now we are going to use Notepad, the real Notepad. So after typing, you press enter. Okay, so now this is Notepad, so we are going to make our text editing in this text editor. So Now we are about to create our first HTML document, and we have to save that document in this folder we just created. So to do that, you go to file, you click on file, and then you select save as. Now we want to store, or we want to save this document in our newly created folder, which is located on our desktop. So first of all, you have to click on the desktop directory on your left, in the left pane. So you click on desktop. So now as you can see, you have your newly created folder in here. So now you double click on it, and then you give the name, or you write the name you want to give to your HTML document. Now the name I want to give to my HTML document is first. So first, because this is my first HTML document. Now after typing the name, don't forget the file extension. It is very, very important, else the browser will not be able to render the contents properly. So you need the file extension. So first, or any name you want to give to your HTML document. So first dot HTML. I repeat, first, then the extension .html. Then after that, you press, or you click on save. So congratulations, once again, you've created your first HTML document. So now we have to feed our HTML document with some contents. Now before that, open your folder. As you can see, we have our newly created HTML document in here. Now most of you will notice that it will change, or it will appear as the logo of your default browser. Now my default browser is Microsoft Edge. Okay, so now we want to open this document with our web browser, because as I said, the tools you need before you start writing HTML code is a web browser and a text editor. So to do that, to launch this, you have to right click on it, and then you choose open with, and then in the pop-up menu, or in the menu list, you can choose the browser you want. I'm going to choose Google Chrome. Okay, so now as you can see here, Google Chrome has been launched. Now we are ready to edit our document. So now any text I type here, or any content I put in here, will be rendered in our web browser. So let's type something in our text editor. So our first text will be hello world. Hello world. So sorry for that, you need to spell things right. So hello world. After that, you save, Control S. Now after you save, come back to your web browser and reload it. So as you can see, after reloading, you can see the web browser rendering your content for you. Now this is not a valid HTML document, because we don't have the declarative statements and all that. So now to check whether this, or to confirm whether this is an HTML document, we have something we call the developer tool. You can invoke that with Control Shift and I. So in your browser, you just type Control Shift and I. Now as you can see here, even though we didn't bring the HTML elements, the head elements and the body elements and all that, our web browser, because we saved our document as an HTML file with the file extension of HTML, which is the .html, our web browser somehow was able to detect that this is an HTML file, and it has automatically rendered that in the structure, in the HTML structure for us. So as you can see in your developer tool, you have the HTML root element, you have the head element, and also you have the body element. And as I said, this is the visible part of our website. So it has been rendered in the body element. So you can see it's making sense now. So this is the visible part of our web browser. So it has been rendered in our body element. Now if we put any text in our head element, it won't appear on our web browser or in our web browser, sorry, but it will add an extra information about our website. You understand? Okay, so now let's add some additional random text to it. So hello world, I am coding in HTML. Now save that and reload. Now when you reload, as you can see, quickly your web browser makes changes to your content. So hello world, I am coding in HTML. Awesome, right? So congratulations, this is your first HTML document. So see you soon. We are going to form the structure of the HTML document, and then we are going to put in some one or two contents, and that will be all. So see you soon. Okay guys, so now let's build up the HTML structure. Now the first thing we learnt about was the declarative statement, which tells the web browser the HTML version we are coding in or we are using. So the declarative statement is doc type HTML. So you bring your less than sign and then your exclamation mark, and then you type doc type space HTML, then you bring your greater than sign. Now one thing you have to take note of is that HTML is case insensitive, so you can mix up uppercase letters with smaller case letters and it will work just fine. But due to the spirit of consistency, we have to stick to one method of case. So we will be using the appropriate uppercase or lowercase if the situation calls for it. All right, so the declarative statement is doc type HTML. So let's type that. So doc type HTML, then you close that with your greater than sign. Now this is not a tag. I repeat, this is not a tag or an element. It is just a declarative statement which tells the browser the version of HTML we are using. Now after your declarative statement, you have to bring your HTML root elements. So type that too. So HTML, and then you close it. Now elements have the opening tag, the content, and the closing tag. So as we've brought the or as we've provided the opening tag, we have to also provide the closing tag. So let's bring that also. So the closing tag for the HTML root element, then you close that. Now in the HTML root element, we have what we call the head element and also the body element. So let me indent, or let me give some more spaces so the indentation will be clear. Now the main reason for proper indentation is for clear readability, so that you can read your codes. Because for example, if I write my code like this, let me show you something very quickly. If I write my code like this, so HTML, and then right away I bring my head, and then I close the head, and then after the head I bring my body, and then I close my body. Come on guys, you can read this. You can read though, but it will be very difficult for you to know the tags and also their content, you understand? So that's why you have to give a proper indentation to make the HTML document readable. So you have to nest it in the appropriate elements, you understand? Okay, so now let's do that. That was just by the way. Okay, so now let's get rid of these. All right, so let's bring our HTML element, our HTML root element. So HTML opening and then close tag. Remember this the forward slash, sorry, remember the forward slash. So in your HTML root element, we have the head element, which also has the opening tag and the closing tag. And after the head element, we have the body element, which also has the body opening tag and the body closing tag. Okay, so now you also have to remember that the head element aligns with the body element. Anything that goes in the head has to be nested in the head element. So for example, I want to give my website a title. Now, as I said, the title always has to, now don't worry, we'll move to Visual Studio soon, and all this manual indentation I'm doing, don't worry, you won't do that. But I'm just trying to show you the hard way so that we learn together. Alright, so now in the head element we have things like the title. So in here I can give the title of my website. So you also have to bring the title elements. So title, and then let's say Codetopia. Let me minimize the font. Then Codetopia. Now after that I have to close my title elements. Alright, so now when I save that, and I reload my website, as you can see here, you can see the title of my website has changed from the first.html to the content. Now let me remove it and bring it back again. Now when I remove and I save, you can see it goes to the default first.html, the name we give to our document. But when I come in here and I type in the title, you see the title changes. So you see the title is not visible in our body, you understand, but it gives extra information about our website, which tells us the title of our website. So you can give any title you want, you can name it coding, save, reload, it will change to coding. Okay, so now in our body, that's where we have all the visible parts of our document or our HTML document. So in here you can have a paragraph, you can have an image, you can have a link and all that. So let me just create one paragraph for you guys, and this will be our last our last HTML text. Okay, in subsequent videos we are going to learn about more elements and also how to insert some cool stuffs. So let me just insert one paragraph. So you have to bring the paragraph opening tag and the paragraph closing tag. So in here, then you bring your content, and as I said, this is collectively called an element because it has the paragraph opening tag, the paragraph closing tag. We are now about to insert our elements. So now here you can have something like okay, so any random text. So my name is HTML, save and reload. Okay, so now as you can see here, when you check your developer tools, you can see my name has been rendered in the paragraph text appropriately, unlike the first one we did. So cool, right? We are going to learn so much, we are going to learn a lot. So this is the end of the introductory video of our HTML. So see you in the next video. We are going to learn about more stuff. We are going to learn about how to insert some images, text, and how to manipulate them and all that. So see you in the next video, and never give up coding. See you soon, guys.